You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Authorities at the Ratanakiri branch of Consumer Protection, Competition and Fraud Repression, or CCF, are continuing to investigate the methanol content in wine products sold and distributed in the province, following the deaths of 10 people last month. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has the details.
The General Department of the CCF sent laboratory experts to Ratanakiri on the 30th of June to cooperate with the relevant institutions and local authorities to investigate the cause 10 men to die in quick succession in mid-June. The CCF and 86 samples have been collected and were being analysed for menthol content. So far, they have found 4 out of the 49 samples contain potential fatal levels of menthol. The laboratory is also testing wine samples to further confirm the cause of death. Meanwhile, CCF officials are researching, monitoring and collecting wine samples from other districts in the province for further analysis. 10 people may have known who worked with the sprayers and fertilisers at the nearby banana farm died over the course of 3 weeks in June in Ratanakiri. Authorities are saying the deaths are a result of alcohol poisoning from liquor bought from a nearby cellar rather than pesticide poisoning as initially thought. The Provincial Health Department conducted an investigation and found out that before dying, the victims were seriously conditioned for 4 to 6 hours and exhibited symptoms of fainting, convulsions, vomiting, fatigue, dizziness, and abdominal pain. They said the victims regularly drank alcohol and had no history of physical illness. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. King Norodom Sihamoni issued a royal decree yesterday, officially announcing the Environmental and Natural Resources Code, which aims to identify the rules needed to strengthen, modernize, harmonize, and improve the management of environmental protection. The Environmental and Natural Resources Code focuses on the conservation and restoration of natural resources, biodiversity, and ecosystem functions through sustainable living and development in Cambodia. The code was unanimously approved by the 100 attending members of the National Assembly on May 30th, and then reviewed by the Senate on June 13th, before being sent to the King for final approval. It applies to all activities related to the environment, natural resources, and heritage of Cambodia, both inside and outside the kingdom. The code was drafted on the main principles of providing legal documentation in the field of environmental protection and ensuring natural resources are integrated, harmonized, and modernized in response to the evolving trends of Cambodian society. The new code will continue to minimize the gaps in ambiguous or outdated environmental protection orders. It will also provide legal provisions that address the complexities brought by technological developments and overlapping jurisdictions in regards to environmental issues. Ultimately, the government hopes to improve coordination efforts between all stakeholders in the management of the environment and natural resources, as well as improve the efficiency of conservation and development in Cambodia. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. This year, the National Election Committee, or NEC, spent nearly $1 million on ink to be used in the upcoming election on July 23rd. In Cambodia, voters dip their index finger in semi-permanent ink to prevent people from voting twice. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
NEC Chairman Prak Chan presented a long-lasting ink during the meeting this morning. He said that 52,000 bottles of ink were bought from India at a price tag of $910,000. Each 70ml bottle cost just under $18 and is valid for 6 months after opening. He confirmed that the Cambodian representatives had visited the production site of the hand-dipped ink directly in India. According to the chairman, the election ink will be distributed to 23,789 voting stations, with each one receiving 2 bottles. NEC Secretary-General Tep Nitta confirmed that the ink fades from purple to black. It is durable and cannot easily be washed off with any available hand soap or bathroom cleaners. He explained that the indelible ink was used to prove that the people have already voted so they could not commit election fraud by voting twice. In this year's election, more than 9.7 million people are on national voted list, over half which are women. The election campaign season runs from the July 21st and election day will be held on July 23rd, 2023. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. Prime Minister Hun Sen announced a lifetime ban of the 22 board members of the Meta Company's Oversight Board, stating that these individuals will not be allowed to enter Cambodia. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
The Prime Minister, speaking via the Channel Telegram on the evening of July 4, 2023, attributed his decision to the board members' involvement in political interference concerning Cambodia's internal affairs. The ban was imposed in response to their recommendation to temporarily suspend the official Facebook account of the Cambodian Prime Minister and move deemed political in nature. In an official statement issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on July 4, 2023, the following are some individuals that were named as subjects to the ban: Helle Thorning-Schmidt, former Prime Minister of Denmark; Michael W. McConnell, former judge in the US; and Emil Palmer, former Director General of Israel Ministry of Justice. Full list of banned board supervisors can be found on our website. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs emphasised in a Facebook statement, the individuals listed above have strictly prohibited from entering or remaining in the Kingdom of Cambodia. They are required to leave Cambodia within 48 hours from the date and time of this statement, which was issued at 1600 on July 4, 2023. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. On July 4th, 2023, King Norodom Sihamoni officially approved a constitutional amendment to Cambodia's election law, which was unanimously approved by the National Assembly on June 23rd. The Constitutional Council convened on the morning of July 3rd, where members unanimously approved the proposed amendment as constitutionally sound. The decision was then sent to the King for final approval. The new Article 23 states that those who do not vote will not have the right to stand in future elections. According to the new Article 142, any person who obstructs the election will be fined 5 to 20 million real, or about $1,200 to $4,800, by the National Election Committee without factoring in other criminal offenses. According to the new Article 143, political parties seen as obstructing the election process will be removed from the ballot and fined between 10 and 20 million real, or about $2,400 to $4,800, in addition to any penalties for any crimes they may have committed. Kristen Winters, EAC News. You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The forestry team of the Department of Water Management, Forestry and Infrastructure of the Apsara Authority is pruning and treating an old silk cotton tree and its roots in the eastern corner of Taprom Temple, widely known as the Tomb Raider Temple, in an effort to preserve the temple structure while maintaining the protective elements of the forest. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has the story.
Technical Officer of the Department of Water Management, Forestry and Infrastructure, Kong Sanavanarit, said that the ancient tree needed medical treatment and pruning to prevent the tree's declining state, but also to keep the tree from damaging the temple as its roots and trunks grow on around the building. He noted that the temple draws many tourists due to the beauty and historical significance. However, he stressed the equal importance of the forest trees, which serve as a protective barrier from the wind and sun. Not to mention, the ways the trees interact with the temples create a beautiful sight that tourists rarely overlook. The forestry team installed a scaffold to cut away the rotten branches, while the tree's roots were polished with rotten pieces were removed or pierced, then treated with rubber. Water mixed with the cow dung and soil was used to close the holes to prevent further rot, a process which can also regenerate the tree's wood. Kong Savanarit noted that the importance of the temple complex to the area's groundwater system, saying, "Temples and trees play an important role in the groundwater system in the Angkor Park area. They attract rainwater, retain rainwater, and are excellent at permitting the groundwater system, especially when compared with trees at the same age in open landscapes. It is not easy for the land to dry out here as it is in the field." Forestry experts advise visitors to be careful when walking through the temple and navigating the trees, especially during the rainy season. They warn not to bother the trees or peel their bark as it makes them more susceptible to disease. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
You're watching EAC News. Thank you for joining us. The Tulkork Police Inspectorate arrested 4 suspects on negligence charges in connection to a fire that killed 8 people at a karaoke bar and hotel on Saturday. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
The Judicial Police Force of the Tulkork Police Inspectorate arrested 4 male suspects employed as interior decorators. According to the confession of a 29-year-old Cambodian renovator, the group consists of 8 people, with 3 renovators working on the ground floor and 5 working the ceiling of the 5th floor. The fire that engulfed the 6969 Kiss Entertainment Karaoke Bar and Hotel on the 5th floor had been determined by an electrical fire. The blaze killed 7 foreigners and 1 Cambodian. The suspect said that while renovating part of the fiberglass ceiling, smoke began to emit from the ceiling along with flames. He then noticed an exposed wire making contact with part of the metal framing of the ceiling, causing sparks. The crew tried to put out the fire with the fire extinguisher, but were unsuccessful. The fire started around 5 p.m. and the Phnom Penh Fire Department managed to extinguish it completely by 8:30 p.m. over 3 hours later. The rescue operations were complicated by the lingering toxic smoke. The 4 suspects are currently being held in custody at the Tulkork Police Station for questioning and to build a case to be sent to the Phnom Penh Municipal Court for further proceedings. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
The Daily Roundup premieres every night at 8 p.m. on the EAC News channel, but the news day starts a full 12 hours earlier. EAC News' passionate team of reporters, writers, cameramen and video editors are hard at work around the clock, bringing you world-class reports on everything from local and regional news to the latest international stories and the most dramatic footage from around the world. It takes meetings, research, phone calls and emails, and that's before we even get out of the newsroom and into the field, shooting interviews and those pieces to camera, not to mention into makeup and onto the set. The Daily Roundup, Cambodia's most comprehensive English language news show, premiering every night on the EAC News channel. Join us and subscribe. We wouldn't want you to miss a thing. The Daily Roundup with me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and only on the EAC News channel. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
Ratika Entertainment ក្រុមតន្ត្រីអាជីពកំសាន្តបែបស្រាលពីរោះមិនថ្លង់ភ្ញៀវរំភើបចិត្តពិធីរឹតតែអស្ចារ្យ Relax Ratika Entertainment ញ៉ាំងឲ្យកម្មវិធីលោកអ្នកកាន់តែមានភាពអធិកអធម Ratika Entertainment ក្រុមតន្ត្រីដ៏ល្អសម្រាប់ក្រុមគ្រួសារលោកអ្នកសូមអញ្ជើញកក់ពីឥឡូវនេះសម្រាប់កម្មវិធីលោកអ្នកតាមរយៈលេខទូរស័ព្ទ 017 838 889 012 823 848 និង 016 823 848 តើលោកអ្នកចិត្តរៀបអាពាហ៍ពិពាហ៍មែនទេហើយពិបាករកក្រុមហ៊ុនថតវីដេអូផ្សាយផ្ទាល់ដែលមានគុណភាពមែនទេអស់កង្វល់ Ratika ជាក្រុមហ៊ុនទទួលស្គាល់លំដាប់អន្តរជាតិលើសេវាកម្មថតផ្សាយផ្ទាល់គ្រប់កម្មវិធីកម្រិត 4K ដំបូងបង្អស់នៅកម្ពុជា Ratika ប្រើប្រាស់ឧបករណ៍ទំនើបម៉ាកល្បីៗធានាគុណភាពការផលិតតាមបច្ចេកវិទ្យាទាន់សម័យ Ratika នឹងជួយធ្វើឲ្យកម្មវិធីលោកអ្នកកាន់តែមានភាពអស្ចារ្យលោកអ្នកនឹងបានឃើញរាល់សកម្មភាពក្នុងពិធីទៅលើកញ្ចក់ទូរទស្សន៍ទំហំធំកម្រិត 4K និងការបញ្ចាំងលើផ្ទាំងក្រណាត់សព្រមទាំង LED